Hey everyone. Alright, today's video is going to be over simple interest, your objective. I will be able to calculate interest using the interest formula. So interest is the amount of money paid for the use of money. So let's say that you take out a loan from a bank, so that means that you are borrowing money from them. They are going to charge you extra, and it's going to be a percentage of how much you borrowed. And the longer it takes you to pay them back, the more interest you're going to have to pay. And this is how the bank makes money whenever they give you a loan. Now, interest is not always a bad thing. It can also be good for you. Let's say you deposit money into a savings account. A savings account can earn interest, so that's a percentage of what you have in that account, and you're going to get a little bit of money each year. If you have annual interest, or if you have monthly interest, you could be getting a little bit more each month. Now, interest, we have principal that's involved with interest. That's just the amount of money that you borrow or the amount of money that you deposit into the account. Now, an annual rate of interest is the yearly percentage of interest that you pay. We're going to be focusing on annual rate of interest. And keep in mind that annual means yearly, and the rate is a percentage. And then simple interest is based on the principal only. So simple interest is just based on how much money you borrow or how much money you're putting into an account. Now, whenever we solve for simple interest, we take the principal, we multiply it times the rate, and multiply it times the time. So remember, the principal is whatever you borrow or put into an account. It's just the amount of money. The rate is the percentage. And when we operate, obviously, it needs to be in decimal form. The time should always be in years since we're focusing on annual interest. So keep in mind, multiply these three together. And that's all we have to do to find simple interest. All right, let's do an example together. So example 1 says, you deposit $200 in a bank account. The interest rate is 6.5%. Find the interest you have earned after 4 years. So the first thing I'm going to do is write the formula. So simple interest equals the principal times the rate times the time. So the principal is the amount of money that we're working with. So there was a deposit of $200. So the principal is $200. Now the rate is whatever the interest percentage is. That is 6.5%. And we want to keep that in decimal form. So that would be 0.065. So there's the rate. And then we're going to multiply that times the time in years. And they gave us 4 years. And all we're going to do is multiply those 3 together. So right off the bat, I'm going to multiply 200 times 4 because that's 800. That's simple. So we just have 800 times 0.065, and that is going to equal the simple interest. Now I'm going to come over here to actually multiply that out. All right, so we have 0 times 5, 2 times. 8 times 5 is 40. I'm going to put the placeholder. 0 times 6, we have that 2 times. And 8 times 6 is 48. I'm not going to multiply by this 0 because that's just another line of zeros, and that will not change our answer. So I'm going to go ahead and add. And I have 3 decimal places. So the simple interest would equal 52, and that would be $52. All right, example 2. An electrician borrows $5,000 from Bank of America and agrees to pay it back over the course of 5 years. If he is charged an interest rate of 6%, how much will he owe at the end of 5 years? Okay, so here's our formula. So interest equals the principal times the rate times the amount of years they are borrowing it says that they borrow $5,000. So there's the principal. So interest equals, so we've got $5,000. Now the rate of interest, that would be 6%, and as a decimal, that would be 0.06. The time in years is 5 years. And we're just going to multiply all of those together. So the first thing that I'm going to multiply, I'm going to do 5,000 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. And then we just add the 3 zeros on the end. And that's got to be multiplied by 0.06. So I am going to work that out right up here. So 25,000 times 0.06. We are going to have 3 zeros when we multiply that. 5 times 6 is 30. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15. And we have 2 decimal places. So the simple interest on this loan would be $1,500. Now we have to be careful in this problem because it wants to know how much he will owe. So that means altogether. So he initially borrowed $5,000, but now he also has to pay $1,500 in interest. So to find the total, we're just going to take what he initially borrowed, and we're going to add the amount of interest that he has to pay. So at the end of that 5 years, he is actually going to have to pay $6,500 for that loan. All right, now it is time for you to try. Make sure that you answer your question on Educanon and show all of your work in your notes. And make sure you bring your notes with you next class day to assist you with your assignment. Have a good day.